Okay, so starting with your first solve, what you did for a cube shape is you did something, this is very inefficient. What you did is a -2 on bottom slice, and then this like -4, 2, as if you didn't know what you were doing, and then turn this into a scallop, and then solved scallop, scallop, like that. What you should have done, which would have been a much better and faster solution, is done a 4, 2 to set it up like this, where the two pairs of edges are on the right and the barrel's like this. And then do slash, and then a -2 on top, slash, and then you get shield, shield, which can be solved in 3 slices. That would have been much better to do. Going on with your solution, your CO-EO was fine. You just had 1 slice CO and then 1, 1. And then this right here was also pretty inefficient. You did X prime, X2, X, so didn't really look like you knew what you were doing there. And then you did 2, 6, so like kind of like a UD2, and then JJ. The CP alg itself, that was fine, but all of those rotations, they really shouldn't be happening. Then what you did is another X prime X, and then parity, which is something you don't want to be starting with. You normally want to solve parity like this, where you would, here's the case, for example, what I would do is I would do adj here, and then adj and back, so I end with parity. You never want to start with parity. It's much easier to end with parity. I can just do parity right there. It's much easier to end with parity. Going on to your solution, you did, after you did parity, you did X prime X2 X again, then you did a U prime D2, adj in front, and then D, and then adj with flip. What I think would have been better is to do just a D prime and then adj like this, M2, and then like that, and then adj with flip. I think that's just a better way of doing it. So there was your first solve. So CO-EO was fine. You're doing a lot of rotations and inefficient cube shapes so far. Okay, so on your second solve, what you did is a -2 on top, slice, and then set up to kite scallop, and then solved like this. What would have been a better solution to do, in my opinion, is do a Y2, and then do a 4 on top, and then a slice, and then you get scallop kite. Then what you also did is you solved it like this, and then you did -1, -2, slice, D prime slice. What I would have preferred to do is a 2, 1, slice, D slice. What you also did is you did your entire cube shape doing up slices like that. The problem with that is that's very unfingertrick friendly. What you should have done is put your thumb on top, and then started with a down slice, pushed like this, slice, like that, slice, up. So alternate it, you should start alternating between up and down slices during cube shape. Now for CO, what you did is 1, 0, slice, and then U prime slice U, D2 slice. Which would have been much better to do is D2, 1, 0, slice D prime, slice U prime, slice. Then you did EO, which was just 1, 1, and then that was fine. And then you did X prime X, -1, JJ. What you should have done here that would have worked out really well, if I can set it up on here. What you should have done right here is you should have misaligned the bottom, because you can see you have this big block right here. And if you misalign it like this and preserve the block, because you have this bar here as well, and then you did JJ, you would have gotten aj, and it would have been able to be solved in 5 slices. Now what you did is you did x prime x, u prime d prime, m2 u2 m2, u2, jn 10 jn, and then cancel into the flip on bottom, and then u prime d. That was extremely inefficient. So for starters, what you should have done is this alg, u2, and then 10, and then align it like this, and then so it goes like 10/3, so u prime, and then do like that, and then that, and then continue the nj. And then you could have canceled into flip. That's a really nice alg that I think you should switch to for that case. Then what you had is you had a u perm, you did a u2, and then 2 jn's. What you should have done is set it up like this with the bar in front, and since it's right here, slice u, slice 1 slice, so just setting up to shield square, d prime, slice, and then solve the cube shape, and then solve CO. And then you could have canceled into equator flip. That is a much faster way to solve that case. And then another thing you could have done, if I set up back to what you had, is you did m2 to m2 like this. What you should have done is done a 3 slice m2 to m2 that flips the equator, and it goes like this: 10 slice, 5 -1 slice, -5 1 slice. And now you have the exact same case, except the equator is solved. So you could have not had to cancel into an equator flip at the end. So there was your fourth solve. Okay, so going into your third solve, what you did is a slice down and then a pause as if you didn't know what you were doing. So it doesn't seem like you're one-looking your cube shape so far. Then you set up to kite scallop on top, and then solve it like this. Then, obviously, I went over this earlier. I would have solved it like this, but I guess I've already gone over that. What would have been much better to do is a -2 on top, so this scallop part is on the left, then put the L right here, and then slice, and then set up to scallop kite like this, and then solve scallop kite. Now, moving on to your CO, what you did is you did a U prime, or a U prime, paused, 1 D, slice, -3 slice, -3 slice. What you should have done is just a U prime D, 10 slice D prime, slice U prime slice. Same EO, and it even gives you CP skip. That would have been much better to do. So then what you did is you did a U2D prime, 3 that's fine, it's just EO. Then you did X prime, X2, X, D prime, JJ. So a lot of unnecessary rotations right there. Then this EP solution was very, very, very inefficient. So what you did, one thing I also needed to point out, during CP, if you had preserved this by just misaligning, you would have gotten good U-perms. So, moving on to EP, what you did is x prime x2 x, u prime u, aj in front, and this right here was very, very inefficient. What you did is -3, -3, and you did aj front left cancel into equator flip. What you could have done right here, you could have noticed you just have aj right here. So you could have done either du2 and then solved aj right there, or just a u and then done aj, and then it's solved, and then you just have to cancel into flip. So that would have been 5 slices. Then what you did is -1 x prime x d nj, and then misalign on bottom, nj, and then 4. What you should have done is just 2 aj. In my opinion, it's fast. It's much faster to just do 2 aj. So far, it doesn't look like you're one looking cube shape, CP, or EP. So there was your third solve. Okay, so for your fourth solve, what you did is for cube shape, you did a -4 on top, slice, and then set up to scallop kite like that, and then scallop kite in front, so like that. Now, what would have been a much faster solution is this is actually 2 slices to pon. What you should have done is set up like this, so put the pairs of edges on the right, and then this line right here on the left, so basically on opposite sides, and then you could have done slice, 1, 2, slice, and now you have pon, which is just solved like this, which is a much better solution. Then what you did is you did a 1 d2 slice, which was fine, 6, your EO. Personally, I don't like that alg. I prefer a different alg, but it doesn't matter that much. Then you did x prime x2 x prime x. So a ton of completely pointless rotations. And then you did j on top. And then what you did here is you did u d prime 1, 2, parity, and then canceled into equator flip, and then u2 d prime. In my opinion, which would have been better to do is just to misalign the bottom and then just do 1 slice and then parity set up right there. So then you can do parity, sorry, this is a bad cube, and then you can do that last slice, and then you can even cancel into flip right there. That would have been a much better solution to do. So oh, and another thing I also forgot to mention is during cube shape, you could have set up to scallop kite in back, which would have been much better, and then you could have solved it like this. Sorry, I forgot to mention that, but so in that solve, there were a ton of unnecessary rotations during CP, and your EP solution was okay, but it wasn't the best. Okay, so moving on to your final solve, what you did is slice and then set up to kite scallop. I would have set up like that, but you did like that. That solution was fine. I have no complaints about that. Then, I'm not sure what happened here, but you did 4, 0, slice, -4, slice, slice, -2, slice d prime, slice, 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 D2, slice, D, slice. That was extremely inefficient. That was a 3-slice cube shape, and you made it end up being about 7 or 8. So that was extremely inefficient. I'm assuming that was an accident, though. Obviously, what would have been a better solution to do is 4D, slice, D, slice, D, slice, because D primes or D's are better than D primes. Then EO is fine. You just did 3, 3. Then what you did right here is you did X prime, X2, X, D2, and J. What you should have done is 1, -1, and preserved the blocks, and then you would have gotten that. So preserving these blocks right here, and then you would have gotten a slightly better case. What you also could have done, this is kind of interesting, is you could have done a D prime, and then you see that there's these blocks right here, so you could have done a adge, and if you had done an adge on the parts where there aren't any blocks, you would have gotten NJ, so that would have been a much better solution. That is more advanced, though. Then what you did is X, X2, X prime, adge, M2, U2, M2, D prime, M2, U2, M2, Z perm, slice, U2, slice, U2, slice, and then ABF. First, what you should have done is this really nice WW alg, which I'll put on the screen. It goes like that, and it solves the equator flip. Then when you got here, you should have done the 3-slice op alg that solves equator flip, which you did M2, U2, M2. Then what you did here is D prime, M2, U2, M2, Z perm. What you should have done is this O op alg, which is really nice. It's M2, U, M2, U, M2, and then you could have canceled into flip. Well, what you did, then what you did is M2 or Z perm, and then you didn't cancel into flip. You should have canceled into flip right here, but you went like that. So there was your last solve. Now let's go over what you should be working on. To start off, you should be working on cube shape efficiency. So what you did on the fourth solve for this case is you solved it into scallop kite like this, which was really inefficient. What you could have done is paired this pair of edges and this line right here together, and then adjusted the top and bottom, and then another slice, and now you have similar pline. I did go over that in the fourth solve. So make sure you're optimizing your cube shape algs. I will link a link down in the video. I will leave a link to a video down in the description below. Then you also need to work on CO efficiency. So I see you're doing a lot of D primes in CO, and D primes are genuinely bad to do in CO. I see for a case like this, you would normally do something like this. So lots of D primes, but what you should do is put the corner here and do D moves. So optimize your CO. I will also put links to the description for that. Then what you should be doing is predicting CP. I see you're doing a lot of like X moves during CP, but CP is easily predictable during EO because almost all EO algs don't affect CP. So what I see right here is I see that this is 1-1. And I see when I do the alg, since 1-1 doesn't affect CP, I already know it's going to be a JN because I can see the CP is a J and an N. So when I do 1-1, it's JN. And that will 100% reduce all of these unnecessary X moves that you're doing in your solves. Finally, you need to optimize your EP. I see you're doing very inefficient EP solutions. I will leave a link down in the description for how to do EP efficiently. So for instance, what you did in this solve, or on your last solve for WW, is adge into ZH, and then M2 to M2, M2 to M2, Z perm, and then flip. But once again, what you should have done is this really nice alg for WW. So optimize cube shape. Also work on execution. I see your execution and turning is not the greatest, so just work on Fingertricks as well. So work on cube shape optimizing, CO optimizing, predicting CP to reduce rotations, and optimizing EP, and just more efficient turning overall. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you're interested in getting a critique, the link will be down in the below, as well as videos to help you get better at Square-1 with everything you should work on. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.